So, Stephen King is considered the king of horror, pardon the pun. And he's written several, dozens of books. The Dark Tower, The Body, The Green Mile, It. So many. I mean, 7-part series of The Dark Tower alone was just like, geez, oh Pete. Maximum Overdrive. He even did the script for Creep Show and starred in it, which was really dang good. Oh, and also, what is that one with Morgan Freeman? It is The Shawshank Redemption. But then, lo and behold, he's also done Dolores something Cambridge and Misery. Yes, that's right. Misery, taking place in 1990, which is a self-insert of him as a writer, played as Paul Sheldon, played by James Caan, and Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes. So the author is going to deliver a manuscript, but unfortunately, because it's so snowy, you would think to look, hey, maybe I should check the weather and not exactly deliver the manuscript when it's snowing outside. Is rescued by the head nurse. Nurses come back to health, and everything seems fine. Until she starts reading the book, and she has truly obsessed with Paul Sheldon and Misery. Even naming a pig Misery. That's known as Misery the Pig. You cannot make this up. I mean, what does one say about this movie? Jeez, oh Pete. I mean, when you want to talk about having a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, this is just amongst Stephen King's top. King says amongst my top 10 favorite adaptations. It was done with true respect. Rob Reiner directed it. James Caan is great, but the star of the show is, of course, Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes. I mean, it's right up there with Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If one wanted to make a comparison, it would have to be that. It's just like, geez, you just look and you're like, wow. This is a claustrophobic movie taking place in this remote cabin. It's kind of in like the woods, but drive 15 minutes, you're in town, just to give you an idea. A little out in the country. So yeah, Paul's missing for quite a while. People don't know what's going on, but there is a very fastidious sheriff who remembers, like, I will be judged by, my sense of justice will be judged by a person higher than man. I will be judged by him, whatever it has to do with God. That's one of the lines that's going in. Eventually it's revealed. I'm spoiling like a 30-year-old movie, but the nurse is a serial killer. And just to give you an idea, she billed, B-I-L-L, she committed infanticide at a hospital. Yeah. Multiple times. First they were like, okay, what's going on here? Then eventually they started connecting the dots when we realize this woman has borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, depression. It's all just like, it's insane. I mean, Kathy Bates just portrays her so well. She was also in Fried Green Tomatoes, which there's a reference to tomatoes, and of course many seasons of American Horror Story. Fantastic in all of them, but this one though, being a relative unknown, it's just like, jeez. I mean, in between caring for being an angel of mercy and a torturer, just, you could see her, you can see just, she is like the stereotype, the legendary stereotype for being obsessed with celebrities, and like, it's just insane. I mean, noticing the small details of like when her when Paul is trying to escape from his room, knocks over a little penguin, but instead of seeing it turned when it should be this way, he turns it this way. Notices that later, says, I know that you've been escaping. Finds a bobby pin and just commits one of the most disturbing on-screen horror sets of all time. Places a wooden plank between the legs of the author, takes a sledgehammer, and pretty much just breaks, dislocates, dislodges the ankles. The first one we see, the foot just veers that way, gets severed, and the other one we see, it's subtle, but it's the subtlety of it that just drives it, and you're just like, jeez. In the book, it was supposed to be that the foot gets severed, but William Goldstein, I think Goldsmith, whatever, changed it to be like, hey, the audiences would, instead of hating her, would sympathize with her madness. So that was actually the right call. A lot of people would be a lot more disturbed by the severing, so it would just be like, ugh. Ooh, I mean, this movie, sparse music, just seeing James Caan just crawl around on the ground. I mean, this is just an intensive performance. Read online that he showed up, what was it? Hungover one day, and Rob Reiner said, yeah, unfortunately, something's going on. You need to, like, something with, like, there's some work or something at the lab, there's, like, some costs at the lab or something like that. Finds out what's going on, and he says he felt sorry and paid for the studio for lost time because he came in hungover. Mostly Kathy and James got along. I think there was a little bit of bickering. It was like minimal, if I'm not mistaken, because they were committed to the film. And I think eventually Kathy started getting a little bit more like depressed and things like that. So Rob told her, hey, leave Annie Wilkes here in the sound studio and channel your aggression of James towards Paul. Just because, like what happens, unfortunately, when people start getting, method acting, and can get too far. So eventually they were able to maintain their sanity. She won, I think, got nominated for a Golden Globe Award and won. It was like the 17th greatest movie villain of all time. I'm like, yeah, darn straight. Especially when acting like, oh, I love you, but pretty much just Bill's a sheriff that's right there, and it's just like, wow. She's unhinged, but you sympathize with her at the same time. That's what makes a great villain. One who has a commanding presence. Another one that you can see that if they have something wrong, you know what's going on. 3, they do deliberate acts such as dislocating ankles. 4, you can actually see the crimes that they committed, and you get a better picture of who they are, flesh them out, rather than just like evil for evil's sake, which I have nothing wrong with. Sometimes you want a truly just character study, if you will, and just, jeez, oh Pete, I mean, this movie just hits everything. The music, the claustrophobia, the humor between, the sarcasm between Richard Farnsworth and his wife that goes on. It's like, that's the spice in the marriage. It's subtle humor that you just gotta like. It's like, it fits the overall tone. So I mean, jeez, oh Pete, I mean, just like I said, the scenes, the ankle dislocating scene, the typewriter, the finishing with the getting bonked over the head with a typewriter, her driving, her getting angry over a type of paper. It was like, I nurse you back to health, and this is what thanks I get, Mr. Man. She won't even swear. So I was just like, that just adds more just to the creepiness and unsettling. So what else can I say? I mean, 2 phenomenal performances. Claustrophobia. Stephen King loves it and said that Annie Wilkes was his favorite, most fun character. So yeah, I cannot recommend enough that you watch Misery.